Alright, what is up, party people, and welcome to this week's, day's, month's video. Anyway, for this video, I'm going to be discussing my experience with the iPhone 11 Pro Max after coming from a Samsung Note 9. Specifically on iOS 14, and I'll explain to you why that is. About 5 or 4 months ago, when I got this phone, my Note 9 was starting to give out, and it was time to get a new phone. And honestly, I had no interest in getting the iPhone. I mean, I kind of thought about it. The 11 Pro Max did kind of catch my eye because those cameras were, the best I'd seen in a while. I loved all the video options. I loved how smooth it could change from camera to camera in video. I also saw a lot of leaks and rumors coming out about iOS 14, and I was hearing really good things, like the widgets coming out and the app drawer coming out, and a feature that supposedly is on iOS 14, but I still haven't seen it in the betas, which is adding or setting a different default browser and map service. Haven't seen that one yet. Granted, I'm only on the second beta, but I don't know where that one is, which that one was pretty much the most exciting for me, and it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I don't know, I really wasn't that interested in getting back to Apple. I left Apple for a reason, and I didn't really have a good enough reason to come back, but I will also talk to you about that in a second. But my family switched to T-Mobile right before the pandemic happened, because T-Mobile was cheaper than Verizon, and we knew we were going to need to save some money during this pandemic. And of course, T-Mobile had a promotion for adding a new line to get whatever, $400 off an 11 Pro Max. So I took the bait, and I got an iPhone 11 Pro Max at a fantastic price, so it makes the phone a lot more worth it, but it's also still not worth it at all. And we're going to talk about why that is right now. So let's start with the good and what I have liked about the phone, because I don't want to just go into a bunch of negativity about this phone. This is a great phone. I'm not gonna lie, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a great phone, and honestly one of the best phones Apple has put out since probably like the iPhone 8 Plus. Honestly, that to me was their last great phone. And I've had a really good time with this phone. It's been an enjoyable experience coming back to iOS. Granted, I'm tired of it already, but it was fun to come back to for a little bit. The cameras are amazing. Unfortunately, we've kind of been in a pandemic, so I don't have a whole lot to take photos of, and I was supposed to be filming movies that would be shot on my iPhone, and those got canceled. So unfortunately, I can't speak too much to the camera, but I know that having that ultra wide, which I know is an exclusive to the iPhone, but I'm gonna talk about the iPhone one because it's what I have in my hand. That ultra wide camera is the best thing to be added to a smartphone. I don't care what anybody says. Telephoto, great, fantastic, awesome additions, love what she does, but that ultra wide gives you a whole lot of crap that we could not do before. For example, and I'll probably put the photo like right here in front of my face while I'm talking, I took a family photo of obviously my family over the summer, and there was no way we were getting everybody in that photo. We could have, but I would have had to go far away, and the frame is all weird because there's a bunch of space like above and below our heads, and we would have to squish all together, and it's hot and it's sweaty, and that wasn't gonna be fun. So what did I do? I just pulled out my trusty ultra wide lens, and guess what? Got everybody into the photo that is right in front of your eyes. So that ultra wide is very practical, as much as even just Google wants to say that it's not useful, and a lot of people out there want to say it's not useful. I'm just gonna say it. Honestly, the cameras have been my favorite part of the iPhone, even if I haven't gotten a chance to really use them a lot. I'd speak to everything else, but like I said, I haven't really gotten a chance to try them all out or anything, so we'll just leave it at that. We all know they're good cameras. Alright, you've got other tech YouTubers telling you just how great they are, and they've got 4 other phones in their hands, because, rich, and they can do that. I can't. I've got my phone, and that's pretty much it. And a Pixel, and you'll see that in the next video. Besides the camera on the iPhone, I honestly have kind of loved being back on iOS just a little bit. You kind of forget how nice iMessage is, and granted, I think a lot of this has to do with quarantine, but I don't really use text messages much. Like, I really don't text anybody ever, but I guess I found myself texting people a little bit more now in quarantine, and it has been kind of nice having iMessage. It's not the best. I honestly like WhatsApp better, in my opinion, but nobody uses that in the US. Any of my Canada, Europe, Asia, South American friends, well, South America, I know you do. I use WhatsApp in South America. But anyway, anybody who might be watching this in a different country, I doubt you will. But if my dreams come true and somebody is watching this in another country, make sure to comment down below and tell me about your experience with WhatsApp versus iMessage. Because to my understanding, people use WhatsApp a lot more than iMessage everywhere except the US and maybe Canada. So, especially my Canadian friends, go ahead and comment because I really want to know what you guys use up there. So, iMessage is cool, FaceTime is nice because everybody has it. Everybody has an iPhone, so everybody has FaceTime, even though it's not necessarily my favorite app. Again, I kind of love Google Duo in this case. I think it's a great video calling app, but most people are not willing to download another app just to video call you. Lastly, let's talk about iOS 14, because here is where the good and the bad start. iOS 14, good, 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 good. Apple is finally making changes that they need to have made a long time ago, and I'm very happy about that. Okay, let me just make sure my camera's still recording. Alright, y'all, we are still good. I am still recording. Just kind of freaked out because I've got it on my watch, and it was not showing it on my watch anymore, so I kind of thought it might have stopped recording, but it didn't. But anyway, Apple, yes. iOS 14, yes. Thank you. Finally going in the right direction with your mobile OS. Thank the Lord. I've been waiting for a lot of these changes. And granted, it's not revolutionary. It's not the big thing that, you know, it was made out to be, or that even Apple tried to make it out to be. But it is definitely a lot of good things coming to your phone. So I'm on public beta number 1, or developer beta number 2. And, I mean, pretty much everything that was leaked is there. I mean, we have the app drawer, we have widgets, you know, iMessage is improved, but I mean, that was kind of small, it's not the biggest thing, but they are really good changes. They're pretty much making it like WhatsApp with replies and everything like that, and mentions, which I wish WhatsApp would have. I'm not sure why WhatsApp doesn't, but it's good. It's good changes to bring, and we're supposed to be able to change the default browser and map. I haven't seen that yet, but it could come in the future, and that would be a very welcome change because I'm so tired of every app not knowing how to take me anywhere because I don't have Apple Maps because I like Google Maps better. So I definitely would like that change a lot more. But for me, it just wasn't enough. I mean, I kind of went into the purchase of this phone expecting it to be revolutionary, I guess. I already used that word, but like, I just wanted to feel inspired by iOS because I just feel bored using iOS. Like, that's kind of, I mean, one of the reasons I left, and we'll talk about the reasons why I left Apple, but it's just boring. You can't do anything on it. You look exactly like everybody else, which isn't always a bad thing, but I mean, your phone you're staring at 24/7, it's pretty much an extension of you. I would think that you should be able to make that phone more you, and changing the case and changing the wallpaper isn't exactly what I think of when I think making it you. So, that's what I was looking for, just more inspiration. I mean, I really only bought this phone in the hopes that I was really going to like it with iOS 14, which was probably a dumb decision, but also I had no other phone to buy because this one was dirt cheap. So, I'm just not impressed at all. Sorry, Apple. It's just still the same Apple feel, still the same lockdown, helicopter parent watching me, telling me how to use my phone every second of the day kind of feel, and it just, you kind of lose interest really quickly. It starts to just feel like, I don't know, it kind of feels like an Android phone with like a parent app on it that controls which apps you use, and you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I mean? Or like the thing you do for senior citizens on Android phones where it's like 4 apps on a screen, and it's just not good. But beside the point, unfortunately, the conclusion for this video is I'm not loving it, Apple. And I was honestly highly considering staying with iPhone because I was starting to like the convenience of iMessage, and I was starting to like that it kind of helps my social media because, you know, hopefully I'm going to be on social media more, so like, and I thought it would help me in that aspect. But now we get to the biggest point and why I am not sticking with iPhone, at least for the foreseeable future, and that is the outrageous choices in the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now listen, I was super excited for this phone, like beyond excited. I thought, you know what, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a good phone. I'm happy enough with iOS to, you know, get through. And the iPhone 12 Pro was just gonna be a better version of everything that was already good about this phone. That better camera with the LiDAR sensor, which I don't know how much I was gonna use, but it's still pretty great to have it. It was gonna have 5G finally. It was gonna have a high refresh rate. It was gonna have a smaller notch. That awesome boxy design that some people might not look. Went to the country accent. That some people might not like, but I honestly kind of love, even if it might be hard to hold. I just kind of love how it looks. And then came the recent news, which if you're watching my video, you probably know the news, because that means you have your face stuck to your phone, watching phone videos 24/7. So, you definitely know what I'm talking about. No charger, and more money. So when I first heard these news, you know, taking out the charger, taking out the earbuds, I was outraged. Don't get me wrong, I was not about this at all. Earbuds, yeah. Okay, you know, like I know there are people out there who probably need those earbuds desperately, but at least I guess it's not the most expensive thing that Apple will try to sell you. So I guess it's fine. It's really not, but more justifiable than taking out the freaking charger. Apple, what? Their argument is that, well, one, it's going to bring the price down, which it didn't, and we'll talk about that in a second. And two, they want to reduce e-waste because everybody has chargers lying around. But that doesn't hold up. The iPhone 12 Pro, as long as it goes by the leaks, is leaked to have the USB-C to Lightning cable that came with the iPhone 11 Pro. And do you know which phones have a charging block that works with that cable? The iPhone 11 Pro. So unless people are buying multiple iPhone 11 Pros and are now switching to the 12 Pro, I don't think they have a whole lot of charging blocks lying around. And if you really start to think about it more and more, it makes even less sense because one, this phone is the only one, my phone, the iPhone 11 Pro, is the only phone to have that charging block that works with it, right? Well, I don't see a whole lot of people who use iPhone changing from the 11 Pro to the 12 Pro. Obviously, there are those people who change every single year because they want the newest phone. But most Apple customers, or at least a lot of Apple customers, buy their phones because they last so long. So why someone would go from the 11 Pro to the 12 Pro, which basically isn't changing a whole lot, I don't really understand. I don't think there's going to be many people doing that. Especially now, with everything going on outside, you know, that thing. People don't have the money to just be switching to a very similar phone, which means that they're probably either not buying the phone, or they're coming from a much older phone that actually makes sense to upgrade from, like the 10S, or the 10, or even the iPhone 8 Plus. And those phones don't have that charging block that they're going to need. So what are they going to have to do? Buy one from Apple. Or let's say they don't buy one from Apple, and they, you know, go and buy like a cheaper one to try to save money because the Apple one is too expensive. Then they buy a cheaper one, and I mean, hopefully they would buy a good one because there's some really good ones on Amazon, but let's say they don't, and then they have to end up buying, you know, charging blocks like every 2 or 3 years, or, you know, every few months because these chargers aren't lasting them. Well, for one charger you could have put in that box, you've now created 3 or 4 chargers of e-waste. So how does that hold up at all? And not to mention the fact that let's say people are coming from the iPhone 11 Pro to the 12 Pro, a lot of people sell their phones to make some money to get that new phone. And to sell your phone, you get a lot more money if you sell that charging block. Well, charging block and cable, you know, the whole charger. So even if they are coming from 11 Pro, the percentage of people that are still gonna have a charging block is even smaller than it was to begin with. So none of this is really adding up. But even, let's say that argument did add up, or it doesn't add up. How about keeping the cost down? That was their argument, right? They're gonna take out the charger, take out the earbuds, and then that keeps your phone at the same price as last year's phone, and for the 12, you know, regular iPhone 12 models, possibly even bring it down $50. But that's not happening. Supposedly, they were going to bring all these fantastic changes. They were going to bring 5G, they were going to bring OLED, they were going to, in early stages, bring a higher refresh rate, but that's not happening anymore, so that's one less thing to also be charging for. But that's just, I mean, 5G, sure, but everything else is just not making sense to me. If you are going to add OLED to the phones, which Samsung has been doing for their $300 and $400 phones, so I'm not sure why your phone has to be, you know, almost double that price. And I get Samsung charges, you know, a lot for the screens when Apple buys it, but their phones are still a lot more expensive, and they were double the price of the Samsung using LCD. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that they have to go up, because they were already probably overpricing that phone to begin with. But anyway, that was the point, right? They made all these changes, and it's a bit expensive. So to cut costs somewhere, they took out the charging block so they can keep the iPhone 12 phones at the same price or less. But they're not. They're actually charging like $50 or $100 more for this phone. So now there's absolutely no justification for taking out the charging block. Like, why not just charge more for the phone, which, I mean, granted, isn't great, isn't the best solution, but if you have to do it to bring all this tech, at least give that charging block. Like, how much does it really cost to make a charging block? Is it gonna really make it go up that much more in price that you can't just put it and just increase the price where you planned? Just leave it at that? This is pretty much why I left Apple, because I saw that Apple was becoming a very, dare I say, a capitalist business, which obviously all businesses are capitalist, but you know, some businesses are more than others, where they try to nickel and dime you for every single thing. And we saw this with the removal of the headphone jack. It wasn't courage. Alright, sure, maybe Bluetooth is better now because of it, but it was still early, and they know it. And it wasn't to help the rest of the industry, it was just to help their own industry. And there's no getting around that. And that's the kind of stuff that made me leave the iPhone and leave Apple, because I cannot be behind that kind of practice. And I came back because I thought that I was seeing Apple change. I thought they were starting to care more about the customer, care more about giving you more for your money, and let you control more things with the iPhone SE at such an affordable price, which isn't that great of a phone. And you know what? Go ahead and like this video, and if I get 15 likes, let's shoot low to see if maybe I get, you know, pleasantly surprised. I'll make a video on my thoughts about the iPhone SE, and spoiler alert, they're not great. But if you want to hear another Apple rant, I mean, I guess go ahead. But anyway, that, and putting out iOS 14, and it seemed like they were kind of giving up a little bit of control over their OS and letting us, you know, customize it a little bit. I thought they were starting to change as a company, but this is just evidence that that has not happened. I mean, I guess I should have seen it coming, since they charged, what was it, $7,000 for wheels? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, because now I can't remember anymore. I just know it's a pretty outrageous number to me. So I don't really pay attention to stuff that I can't afford and wouldn't want to afford. So I guess for now, it's peace out, Apple.